Okay, guys, we're going to take a look here at the next couple of problems, examples 3 and 4 on the applications note sheet. Uh, like we talked about in previous examples, there's typically a couple ways to attack writing equations. Sometimes a sentence represents an equation. Sometimes we look for themes and we put all the common items into an equation. We've talked about those two ideas. This problem we're going to look at here, example 3, as I read through it, we'll figure that out here as we go. It says the cost of 3 pencils and 4 pens is $4.50. The cost of 8 pencils and 8 pens is $10. Find the cost of a pencil and the cost of a pen. So just like we do with any other word problem, we want to define the variables. So the cost of a pencil, the cost of a pen. These are the things they're asking me to find. So those are going to be my unknown or my variables that we are going to define here. So X is the cost of a pencil, and Y is going to represent the cost of a pen. All right, as I read through this, got the word is here a couple of times, and the first sentence here says the cost of 3 pencils, 4 pens is $4.50. The cost of 8 pencils and 8 pens is $10. So basically, this is the scenario where each equation is going to represent, or each sentence is going to represent its own equation. So it says 3 pencils and 3 pens cost $4.50. So basically, where it says is $4.50, that means it equals $4.50. So the cost of the pencils and the cost of the pens is $4.50. How am I going to figure out the cost of the pencils? Well, if X represents the cost of 1 pencil, I take 3 times X, or 3 times the cost of a pencil, plus 4Y. 4 pens times the cost of 1 pen tells me how much I'm spending on the pens, and that total bill is $4.50. Likewise, the next sentence is going to be another equation. 8 pencils times the cost of a pencil tells me how much I'm spending on the pencils, plus 8Y. 8 pens times the cost of a pen tells me how much I'm spending on the pens, and that bill ended up being $10. Well, we've got a system of equations, and in order to solve a system when they're in standard form, we've talked about using elimination. And in order to eliminate here, it's going to be easy to multiply my top equation through by 2. And when I multiply through by 2, that's going to give me the y's with the same value. And not only 2, let's go ahead and take a look at this and multiply by a -2, because as I multiply through by a -2, that's going to give me different signs with the y's. So here we go, -2 times 3x. I've got -6x. -2 times 4y is -8y. And the -2 times the 450 is going to be -9. The other equation I'm not going to multiply by anything, because as I bring this over here, the y's are going to have the same number in front, which is what I was trying to do with my multiplication. So as I take a look at these, I can now add these two equations together, and the x's combined together here to give me 2x. The y's do exactly what we want. They eliminate, and that is equal to -9 plus 10 is going to be 1. Divide by 2, and x is equal to 1/2. But since we're talking about money, this would be equal to 50 cents. So 1 divided by 2 would be 0.5, which is 50 cents. All right, we've got our answer here for x. X, we know the cost of a pencil is 50 cents. I need to take that value, plug it into one of my original equations, and this one here is convenient to work with, so I'm just going to plug in to the second equation. So 8 times 0.5 plus 8y equals 10. I multiply here. Well, that's basically like saying half of 8, which is just 4, plus the 8y is equal to 10 still. We minus the 4, minus the 4, and 8y is equal to 6. And in the end, when we divide by 8 here, your y value is the fraction of 3/4, or if we divide 6 divided by 8, you get 0.75. So if we're talking money, that would be 0.75 or 75 cents. So our answers here, 75 cents for a pen, 50 cents for a pencil. Since I've already defined my variables at the beginning, I don't really need to label the answers. They're already labeled just because of the way we defined our variables. All right, taking a look at the next one. I'm going to work out in a very similar fashion. So you've got the cost of 3 bags of chips, 4 bags of candy is $13.25, and 2 bags of chips, 6 bags of candy is $17. It says find the cost of a bag of chips and the cost of the bag of candy. So once again, if we're going to define variables, you're asked to find the cost of a bag of chips, the cost of a bag of candy. So we're going to do X and Y. X is the cost of the bag of chips. Y is going to be the cost of your bag of candy. All right, so we've got our variables defined. Very much like the last one then, we'll go ahead and go through here and highlight. We've got 3 bags of chips, 4 bags of candy, and that is $13.25. First sentence is going to be our first equation. Then it says here we've got 2 bags of chips, 6 bags of candy costing $17. Second sentence, second equation. All right, so the word is means equals. If I take 3x, so the 3 bags of chips times how much it costs for a bag of chips tells me my cost of my chips, plus 4y is going to tell me the cost of my candy. When I take the cost of the chips and the cost of the candy, it says that that total is $13.25. Next equation, 2 bags of chips, so 2x, plus 6 bags of candy. So this is the cost of the chips plus the cost of the candy is equal to the total of $17. All right, well, we've got a system of equations set up here again. Pretty much the same as the last one here. We want to eliminate. There's nothing easily to multiply this 2 times to get 3, nor is there something I can multiply the 4 times to get 6. So I'm going to look at my smaller numbers here, the x's of the 2 and the 3. To eliminate those, I'm going to just flip and put the 2 up top and take the 3 and move it to the bottom. Because if I multiply the top times 2, I get 6. If I multiply this by 3, I get 6, which gives me the same number in front. And then I'm going to go ahead and make this a -3. So as I multiply through here, we'll be able to get the different signs right away. So 2 times 3x is going to give me 6x, plus 4y times 2 is plus 8y, equal to, when I multiply 13.25 times 2, that is going to give me 26.50. Multiplying through this equation by my -3, I'm going to have a -6x, which is great because this gives me a variable with the same number of different signs. -3 times 6 is -18y, and that's equal to -3 times 17. and that gives me a negative 51. All right, well, the whole reason we did this was to get it set up to eliminate. The x's do eliminate because of 6x and negative 6x. The 8 and the negative 18y gives me a negative 10y, and that is equal to negative 2450. Well, to divide by negative 10 here to solve this on each side, so y ends up equaling, when you divide by 10, don't forget the decimal just moves over once, so it ends up equaling $2.45. Okay, so final answer for the candy or a bag of candy is $2.45. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it back into one of the original equations here. And let's just go ahead and plug it into our second equation. So I've got 2x plus 6 times the y value of 245. And that's equal to 17. My 2x comes down, plus 6 times 245. That kind of looks like a 9 there. It's supposed to be 245. 6 times 245 is going to be 1470. And that is equal to 17. Well, to solve, I'm going to subtract the 1470 on both sides. When I subtract 1470, over here I've still got 2x. The 1470s go away. Equal to 230. And when I divide by 2 on each side, x, which remember at the beginning was the cost of a bag of chips, ends up being $1.15. So final answer here, cost of the bag of chips is $1.15. The cost of the bag of candy is $2.45.